Hi, my name is Rod Cleef, and I'm the host of the Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing podcast. And every week I interview multifamily rock stars, and we talk about how they've built incredible wealth for themselves and their families through multifamily properties. So hit the like and subscribe buttons to get notified every Monday when a new episode comes out. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Multifamily Rockstars. So as you guys know, this is where we interview people that are flat out crushing it in their business, but also in their lives. And today's episode is definitely with someone that's doing that. We show you guys the inside scoop into how multifamily investors are creating massive success in their businesses and, like I said, in their lives. And as always, I've got my co-host, who's the director of our massive action team for the Warrior Group, Mark Nagy, on the call. Mark, what's up, brother? What's exciting?
What's up, Rod? Well, for the listeners, just as a reminder, multifamily rock stars, these are most of the time people starting from no multifamily experience and are students that have gotten to that success. And for the listeners, if you like these episodes, it's MFRS. When you see MFRS on the podcast, go back, download all the MFRS if you listen to this and you like it. And so go back and listen to those episodes and you'll hear tons of people like our guests that we got today. So I just want to throw that out there.
Yep. Love it. So today we've got my friend Tim Severson, and Tim just retired from his W-2 job after 25 years, like 6 weeks ago. And he's in over $20 million in assets that they're managing. And all of it been acquired since he joined the Warrior program. Now, he was at my Denver boot camp where I was balling behind the curtain because my mom was there back in 2019. And so great to see you here, brother. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, Rod. Mark, thank you too. It's such a pleasure and honor to be here.
Yeah, for sure. Well, why don't you take a minute and tell a little bit of your story? I know you were in retail for a long time, just retired because you want time, freedom of time, freaking love it. So give us a little bit of your story and kind of bring us, up to today.
You bet. Yeah, thank you. 6 weeks ago, straight out of retirement from the corporate W-2 job, what led me to the vision of getting that freedom of time, I just turned 50 back in September. And so about 5 years ago, right around 45, 46 years old, I got the message really late in life, by the way. But I really started reflecting just on time itself. And I think it's a natural course of getting older and you learn to reflect more often and where I was at in life, where I had been, where I was headed. And two things really came to mind. One thing that really resonated with me is I heard Jim Rohn say that time is our most valuable asset in life. And when you really step back and think about it, that's pretty deep. And so as I started going down that mental thought of, wow, time, where have I been? The second thing that popped out for me, and Rod, it's something early on when I started listening to you, I connected with you when you shared your greatest regret. Mm-hmm. And I share in the same. And my greatest regret was of those 25 years that I was traveling 85, 90 flights a year. I had some years where I'd clocked over 100 flights, had 58 different locations, 9 states. So on the road a ton. I had so much regret that I wasn't at home as often as I wanted to be. And those 25 years blew by. And didn't know where they went. And so at the core, understanding the significance of our time and then really having that deeply rooted regret from not being at home as much as I would have liked to have been with my wife and my girls. That's what drove me to the core to find a way out of the rat race. I didn't necessarily know how I was going to do it yet, but I was just so driven to figure it out. And that's what led me to go figure out real estate investing.
Love it. Love it. Your regret is actually slightly different than mine. But, I talk about the greatest regret in my life, which was I would come home every night, but I was distracted. I wasn't there mentally, and it's the same. Honestly, it's the same as not being there physically. I mean, even though I'd play with my kids, I missed it all because I wasn't there mentally. I was so focused on, trying to prove to the world I was good enough and focused on success. But I can, it parallels what you went through. You weren't there because you were so busy, we all believe we have to achieve to be happy. And, I tell the story about philanthropy where, if you give back in some fashion, you're actually happily achieving, but it also relates to giving back to your family, and so, no, that really resonated with me. So, you came to the Denver boot camp. In fact, you were cool. You had a t-shirt or something I think you went to my two boot camps. You came to Denver and then you came to Baltimore, and you had a t-shirt. What was the t-shirt that you threw up? I forgot.
Well, I had brought like 20 t-shirts and I had printed them up, and they said, first one was Multifamily Boot Camp Denver, and the other one, and then the second was Multifamily Boot Camp Baltimore. And I did just give them to you to give away. And
love it.
That's
that was cool.
Today too, for those listening, it says 0% luck, 100% mindset.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Love it. Yeah. And guys, I don't know if you've heard me talk about this yet. Opportunity is freaking coming. It is right around the corner. And, if you haven't signed up for my Denver boot camp, listen, if once we're in the thick of it, because the recession is coming, could be worse than a recession, and it's coming, and there will be exponential opportunity because there are going to be deals at discounted pricing. But if you're trying to learn this in the thick of it, it'll be too late. You need to get ahead of this. So whether you come to my boot camp or not, you need to learn it. Now, my boot camp's kind of a no-brainer because the pricing is so good. But anyway, so let me ask you this: Did you do your deals on your own, or did you do them in a team? With other people?
They were with other people. The deals that we've done are through joint ventures, and I happen to have met both of my partners through the Warrior program.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, fantastic. And did you kind of fall into a particular role? Because we talk about this business being a team sport, and there are different pieces, that are involved here. There's underwriting, there's relationship building, with investors and brokers and even sellers. And then there's, asset management, there's investor relations. So there's all these different pieces. Are you wearing all those hats, or have you fallen into a particular piece of that?
Yeah, thankfully, I don't have to wear all the hats. Real quick, one of the things that's really helped us find clarity is we do implement EOS in our business. And
nice. So do we.
We have our L10 meetings every week. It's helped us get clarity on who owns what. But I guess my superpower.
Hold on. Just because I don't want that to pass by. So if you guys don't know what he's talking about, there's a book called Traction by a guy named Gino Wickman. And once you have a business, even if it's only 3 or 4 people, if you implement that EOS system, it's called Entrepreneur Operating System, it really gives you clarity. And I've built 27 businesses. I don't call them failures. I call them seminars. Several of my businesses have been worth tens of millions. Most have been spectacular, flaming seminars. And had I known about that EOS system, they may not have been, because it's a spectacular way to stay focused on short-term goals so you don't get overwhelmed, and to have accountability. And so those are the 2 main pieces, I would say, of it. But okay, so please continue. So your superpower. So I just wanted to explain that.
Yeah, no, that's great. It would be the asset management side.
Okay.
Both of my partners live out of state. And so that was one of the areas of value that I could bring to the table, was to be boots on the ground.
And where are you? Where are you again?
Arizona.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in Phoenix. The properties that we own are in Tucson, so it's a 2-hour drive. But
Nice.
So the asset management, really the CapEx and interior renovations, that's the area that I support for our team.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. So I know you're at, I think Rod mentioned $20 million, but that's 158 units, if I'm reading that correctly, all JV deals, like you just mentioned. Obviously we have tons of syndicators on this podcast as well that, like going that strategy. What do you like and dislike about doing those small, medium JV deals versus a bigger syndication?
Sure. For me, and I think it's different for everyone, right, as we get clarity on the path that we want to go down, but the joint venture route I was interested in, as I had really worked to build a significant enough capital that allowed me to get into, we had a 30 unit, a 36 unit, a 40 and a 52, but through a joint venture, having a larger percentage of ownership in those properties. And so I really wanted to get my capital working for me up front as I got into the business and learned how things go. But it isn't necessarily that I like that better than or more than syndication. I absolutely believe in syndications, and it's actually that would be the next layer for me as I continue to evolve on my path.
Now, you told us before we started recording that you built that up like you had a duplex, you flipped it, and then you did flipping and so on and so forth. And that's how you built up that nest egg, which is fantastic. And so, I think that's a fantastic way to do it. And even wholesaling, one of the things we teach our students is wholesaling. And I did a post, I don't know if you saw it, Tim, in the Facebook group, gosh, probably been 9 months ago. I said, who's wholesaled a deal and made over $100,000? And there were like literally a dozen people that had done that. And 2 of them made over $1 million and just from wholesaling one deal. So, guys, there are opportunities, not just in single family, but in multifamily to get some pretty decent checks at flipping and wholesaling as well in our world, and especially with what's coming. So let me ask you this, it's not all roses and glory. I like to ask about any pain or any seminars or any failures or setbacks, talk about, a learning experience from this endeavor, this multifamily endeavor, and maybe what lesson you got from it, if anything comes to mind.
Yeah, you bet. Gosh, there's a lot of them along the way,
right,
but
right.
One of the very early ones, and looking back on it, was so simple. But we were about a week from closing, and the seller had allowed the occupancy to fall below 90%.
Ooh. Well, let me explain why that's a big deal. Okay, guys. And this was you were getting non-recourse debt. You were getting Fannie or Freddie?
It was through a local bank.
It was through a bank, but the bank had that requirement as well. Well, guys, what you'll find is definitely with agency debt, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they require the property to be physically occupied at 90% or higher for the last 90 days. And so if you're under contract and a deal falls below 90%, you could really be in a world of hurt because you could lose out on your financing. And so that was an issue with this bank as well then. They had let the occupancy drop. All right, please continue. I just wanted to explain why that's a big deal.
Yeah, you bet. Thankfully, we have a good relationship with the bank. And so there was an alternative. They lined us up with some bridge debt. And I know there's a lot to talk about these days about bridge.
Right.
But so within, 48 to 72 hours, we had a new loan lined up with bridge debt. And it actually has worked out well for us to have gone that route versus the longer term fixed debt.
Yeah, we won't go down that bridge rabbit hole right now because things are easing a little bit. Even Fannie and Freddie, it was all bridge for the last several months, and it's kind of dangerous debt in many cases. But we won't go down that rabbit hole right now.
So you mentioned, asset management, boots on the ground, big part of what you do. I know you got a background in, you mentioned leadership, a bunch of multi-store, I think is what you called it. How do you think those leadership skills from your past W-2 have helped you in multifamily and translated over?
Good question.
Yeah, really good question. I think the first thing that comes to mind, and we hear it often, is that, multifamily truly is a team sport. And one of the largest responsibilities that I had was leading my team. And I had a really large team, up to 2,000 employees that fell under my umbrella. And so I think just the familiarity of working alongside different people with different personalities, different communication styles, being able to shape vision, and then more importantly, be able to lead through that vision to execution, I think is a transferable skill. And so, that helps with forming partnerships and building synergy with my team members. And then as it relates to asset management, there's so many moving pieces between, dialogue with the property manager when a unit becomes vacant. Mm-hmm. And then from there, it's lining up the project schedule to be able to turn the unit in the shortest amount of time possible with all of the different vendors that come into play. In the sequence in which
sequencing, it's a critical piece. Yeah. You don't want to be putting carpet in before you paint, for example, sequence is critical. Yeah. There's a lot of pieces, but I mean, it's not something, you've got to just lay it out. You plan it out. Now you've done project management with your previous role. So that's kind of your, now I love the way you described that about having that vision and working behind that vision, because, that's what a leader has to have. They've got to have that vision. They need to be able to express it and get everyone behind it. Like, with my team, it's like, we're changing lives, and we are, and that's our vision. And it's extraordinary. And that's what and you're creating safe, affordable, housing for people. And that's the vision you want to get people behind. I'm sure that's a version of yours, Tim. And that's what we're doing. So let me ask you this, there are a lot of people listen to this show that are thinking about this. What do you think are some questions that they may want to ask themselves about themselves if they're thinking about getting into this business, Tim?
Why?
Why? Oh, good one. Good one.
and that just from personal experience, I mean, that hit me like a ton of bricks when I had that personal reflection. And because when you have that why that resonates deeply with you, you have no choice but to take action and figure out how you're going to be able to move forward from there. So being able to find that deeply rooted why, and I don't know that it's always easily understood or observed.
Well, it's not only just not deeply understood. Sometimes you have to really reflect more than once to get to it. Sometimes it takes, some continual reflection, and as at my boot camps, the first thing we do is try to figure that out. We spend an hour on goal setting because how the hell do you get anything if you don't know what it is? You got to have clarity on what it is that you want. And like you said, you got to know why you want it. So that's huge. So let me ask you this. As you went through this evolution, do you have any epiphanies or any like aha moments when you're like, holy cow, now I get it about this business, or maybe even not this business, just life in general, if that's easier for you? But do you talk about some epiphanies if you've had any?
Well, gosh, some epiphanies. I get asked a lot these days, especially over the last 6 weeks, like, how's retirement? And I come to realize, I retired from the corporate world, but I really just obtained freedom of my time. I'm still busy as heck. Mm-hmm. But the ability to spend my time every morning at home with my girls, with my family, be home every night. The epiphany for me has been, I'm so thankful that I was able to figure out how to be able to put myself in this position. And I don't take that for granted in any waking moment. That's one thing. Epiphanies in the business that came early on, along the journey. I mean, it was an exhausting effort of getting educated. I mean, I consumed books, podcasts, joined 2 mentorship programs at the same time. Oh. Every month was traveling somewhere in the country to a multifamily event, networking, et cetera. But what really turned the light bulb on for me initially, if you would have asked me early on in January 2018, I went to my first real estate meetup, and part of what they asked when they opened up the room is, so what are your real estate investing goals? And I said, well, I'm going to own 10 single family homes. I'm certainly glad I realized that was not the route for me. But it was it was the valuation, the difference between how commercial real estate, 5 units and up, multifamily, is valued based on its operating income in relationship
net
to
income,
how
net
residential.
Income.
Yeah, thank you. How residential real estate is valued, which is based upon the comps. And so the light bulb went off around you're purchasing a business and the ability to force the appreciation, grow the operating, grow the income, reduce the expenses. And that it was so powerful when you take that as a formula to the cap rate. It was clear as day.
Let me give you guys an example of this. On our Sedona asset, 296 unit asset in San Antonio, we put in numbered parking places so that tenants could literally pay $25 a month to have their own parking spot closest to their unit. We had 100, I may have the numbers wrong, but just trust me when I give you the final number. It's like 110 or 115 people that, maybe it was 125 actually, 125 that agreed, that wanted to do it. That 125 times 25 equated to a $800,000 instant increase in value. This is why we love this business, my friends. Okay. So because the value is based on a multiple of the net income, and I give you numerous other examples of that, but that's why it's, you can't do that with smaller multifamily or single family because it's based on comps, like you said. So you can force appreciation in our world.
Well, Tim, how do you think the Warrior Group, the mentorship, has helped you get to where you're at right now, to where you could even leave your job?
Yeah, good question.
Wow, so many ways. Relationships comes to mind. Even prior to that, it's the culture of the people that Rod is able to attract into the Warrior program. It's really special. There's a mindset of abundance. There's a lot of love amongst the warrior team, and the relationships that I've been able to build through the warrior program was instrumental. That's what led me to introductions to my partners here today.
Nice.
We'll start there.
Nice. By the way, guys, if you have an interest in the warrior program, to apply, text the word crush to 72345. And we look you over, you look us over, and we'll see if it's a fit. But again, they just text the word crush so we can absolutely help you freaking crush it in this business and your life to 72345. Let me ask you this. What are some either roadblocks? Answer this any way you like. What are some roadblocks that people can expect, or why do you think people give up in real estate? If you have any thoughts around that. For me, I guess I look at it as a roadblock, but I overcame the roadblock through time, and it was just getting clarity of focus around what was the strategy that I was going to execute that was going to allow me to actually obtain the goal that I had, which was the freedom of my time. Right. And I would tell you early on, like, I had no idea I was going to be able to accomplish it this quickly. I was thinking maybe over the next 10 years, or by the time I'm 55, and, it was from start to finish 4 years later. And so I think roadblock can be having clarity. For one, another roadblock is simply just once you have the information, taking action. And, I know, Rod, you talk about like massive freaking action, and it's so true. But yet that massive freaking action is a series of individual steps along the way that one at a time leads to the outcome. And so it's, having a long-term vision, working backwards to build a strategy, and then knocking each bullet out of the way as you go and continuously moving forward. Yeah.
Could you give us some specifics on that? I know Rod also talks about like, hey, do the things that other people aren't willing to do, right? What are some of those things you think that you've done that the average person hasn't?
Well, you already said it. I mean, he consuming all sorts of crap. He joined other programs. You did. I mean, he just did overwhelming number of stuff. I mean, but
I'll give you an example.
I'm answering your question. Yeah.
No, I'll give you an example. It started, I say, hey, 10 single family homes, and then YouTube video to a guy named Mark Ferguson. And he's like, hey, here's how you turn one single family into two and three.
Oh, Mr. Lambo.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And then somewhere in his book, I had never heard of it before, but it was called Bigger Pockets. And so then I did what any normal human being would do. I Googled Bigger Pockets and I found the podcast. And I consume things. So I scrolled all the way down. I started with episode number 1, and I listened to all 300 plus podcasts at the time. Wow. And what's great about BP, Bigger Pockets, was that it's like this general overarching platform that you learn about all facets of levers you can pull. Like you mentioned, Rod, wholesaling, fixing and flipping, buy and hold single, small, multi. And then that led me to clarity that, okay, I want a multifamily. So again, I Googled multifamily podcast and pops up, sounded really great. Lifetime cash flow.
Yeah, baby. Okay, I like that. I like
scrolled
what you're
all the way
saying.
down to the bottom, started with episode number 1, and listened to all 300 plus of them.
Holy!
Now here you are, right on it.
There's the answer to your question, Mark. And there's massive freaking action. Good God. And they were so bad early on too. And I used to say early on, I'll never sell you anything. And I didn't plan to. I mean, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Well, wow. Okay.
Well, you pulled the okie doke
700 now, by the way.
What's that?
I said over 700 now, by the way.
Yeah, we just hit 700 episodes, 13 million downloads. But anyway, what were you going to say, Tim?
Yeah, well, early on, because I started with episode number 1, early on, you were giving the free coaching sessions. So I thought, oh gosh, how am I going to get one of these coaching sessions? And I sat down on the couch next to my wife one time, and I had her listen when I was like, babe, I'm going to meet this man in person someday. But then as I kept listening to the podcast, then all of a sudden you weren't giving the free coaching sessions anymore, but I started hearing about the boot camps, et cetera.
Oh, no kidding.
So,
So those of you that don't know, I used to take free phone calls from my listeners. I had nothing to sell. I had nothing to give. I just wanted to add value. That's the truth of it. I did hundreds of them. And finally I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore. But I literally would do, a bunch a week and just add value. And I used to send people to another program, actually, someone else that was selling stuff. And then finally people are like, please create something. And that actually was the springboard for me to write my book. And, I gave away that thing for free. I gave away 20,000 copies of the book I still give it away for free. You just pay the shipping, you can have it, and
on Amazon,
Yeah. And it was number one bestseller in several categories. I'm real proud of it. People, in fact, I just got a text today. Your book is awesome. Literally today. But the point is, again, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. I guess that's the point. But well, listen, brother, it is great to see your face and great to hear about your retirement and from W-2. And I can't wait to see where you are a year from now, man. We'll have to have you back on here just to see where you are, because I know it's going to be exponential. And guys, again, opportunity, literally the greatest wealth transfer in history could be coming. Seriously, it's definitely going to be exponential opportunity. So learn this business now, huh?
Today's the 13th of June. I don't know when it was going to be released. We were just talking about it. Bitcoin down another 25-30%. It's just this morning down to 23 grand. It's gonna keep going. Everything. It's
gonna keep going. Amazon stock is depressed, and Amazon's a no-brainer. That's
Tesla. Everything down.
Yeah, everything's going down, and so will real estate. So again, exponential opportunity. All right, Tim, great to see you, brother. And hopefully I'll see you in Denver. Mark, good to see you.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, take care, guys. Thank you,
guys.
Rod, I know a lot of our listeners are wanting to take their multifamily investing business to the next level. Now, I know you've been hard at work helping our Warrior students do just that using our ACT methodology, which is awareness, close, and transform. Can you explain to the listeners how they can get our help?
You bet. Guys, we've been going nonstop for 3 years, building an amazing community of like-minded people. And our coaching students, which we call our Warriors, have had extraordinary results. They've purchased thousands and thousands of units. And last year, we did over 1,000 units with our students. And we're looking to grow this group and take it to the next level. We're looking for people who want to follow a proven framework that's really step by step, and then leverage our systems and network to raise equity, to find and close deals, and to build partnerships nationwide. Now, our Warrior community is finding success in any market cycle. So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become more of our incredible network and take advantage of the incredible opportunities that are coming very soon, apply to work with us at mentorwithrod.com or text CRUSH to 72345, and we'll set up a call so you can check us out and we can check you out. Again, to apply, text CRUSH to 72345.